Humanoid robots are just now approaching the functionality that science fiction fans have been reading and watching for decades. Though we are not yet at the point where robots can successfully pass for people, researchers and private investors have made great progress overcoming the creepy factor. Let's look at some of the very attractive female humanoids.
Asking the question. The issue has already been addressed by various media outlets, but Ma doesn't seem to comprehend that. When asked if his robot could be objectifying women, he replied, "I'm not sure of this question." He states that, in spite of the robot's possibilities to interact with people, winking and smiling when you tell her she is beautiful, Mark I is used purely for scientific reasons, and there is no contact with her on a more personal level. After spending 24 years in the graphic and product design field, it seems Ma has made his childhood dream come true. He bought himself a 3D printer, spent over $50,000, and created Mark I in 18 months. But he doesn't think robots could replace humans, even though they are indeed important assets for the economy. On the other hand, Ma says that human-like robots will definitely be popular in the future. It's just a psychological thing. The high-performance machine. In the late 1970s and mid-1980s, feminists such as Donna Haraway and Anne Balsamo started a discussion about postmodernism, cyborgs, and feminism. While Haraway, in a Cyborg Manifesto, suggested the cyborg as a transgressive potential for gender roles, Balsamo, in Technologies of the Gendered Body, argued for the idea of the cyborg as metaphor for the female body in a world of non-material bodies, based on Foucault's theories on sexuality. In both cases, the concept of cyborg goes further than its meaning of a cybernetic organism. It says more about the postmodern human condition than the man-machine relationship. Years after publishing her manifesto, Haraway said she understood that people were already living as cyborgs, including herself. Kunzru also highlighted the fact that sociologists and academics from around the world have taken Haraway's lead and came to the same conclusion about themselves. That means the 1990s were the cyborg era, as people started to notice themselves less as isolated individuals and more like nodes on networks. In other words, Kunzru argues that they believed that being a cyborg isn't about how many bits of silicon you have under your skin or how many prosthetics your body contains. Later, in English pulp science fiction, the difference between mechanical robots from fleshy androids was better developed and popularized by Edmund Hamilton's Captain Future stories, 1940 to 1944. A History of Gynoids. Released in 2003 during the International Robot Exhibition in Tokyo, Eve R1 is recognized as the first gynoid ever. Costing $321,000, her name is a combination of the biblical character Eve and the letter R from robot. Her creators, a team of South Korean scientists, part of the Korea University of Science and Technology, molded her face to look like a composite of two popular Korean actresses, plus the torso of a singer. The exact women used as models were never actually revealed. Weighing 50 kilograms and standing at a height of 160 centimeters, Eve R1 was able to mimic human emotions such as happiness, sadness, anger, and surprise. She could recognize 400 Korean and English words, which allowed her to give answers to questions both verbally and with 15 different facial expressions. Her successor was released during Robot World 2006 in Seoul. Eve R2 had her abilities improved, got new expressions, and became taller, 170 centimeters, and heavier, 60 kilograms. She was programmed to provide entertainment and information in department stores and museums, to read for the attending children. Still, back in 2004, Japanese scientists released Actroid Replier Q1, a gynoid that was molded after the looks of average Japanese young women. She also had a sister, Replier R1, designed to help people with obtaining information on specific locations and events. Actroid was presented in Expo 2005 in Aichi, Japan. In the timeline of realistic robots, we see more gynoids than androids. Another known example of the former is Letrung's gynoid Aiko. Able to speak in English and Japanese, she is disclosed in her official website as the meeting of beauty and science. The Vietnamese-Canadian inventor argues that Japanese society is obsessed with perfection, so he wanted to build the best realistic robot, and he has been doing this since 2007. In fact, Trung describes her as Yumicom, which means dream computer robot. While Aiko's original goal was to be a robotic caretaker for the elderly, the gynoid ended up as something else. In 2009, Daily Mail published a story about Trung spending Christmas Eve with the gynoid at his parents' house. Aiko is like any woman. She enjoys getting new clothes. I loved buying them for her too, said Trung. Aiko is able to react to physical stimuli and mimic pain, so this technology could help people who have undergone amputations to get lifelike mechanical limbs. But again, there is more to her than that. She was inspired by Japanese anime, especially Chobits 2002, which features a gynoid as one of its main characters, and her turn-on-off button is conveniently placed in her crotch. With silicone skin and a real hair wig made by a Japanese doll company, Aiko can sense if she's being stroked gently or tickled. She has sensors on her face and body, including her breasts, and yes, even down there, as Aiko's website notes. Trung admits that this has caused controversy, but his explanation for these sensors is an attempt to dispel it. I want to make it clear that I am not trying to play God. I'm just an inventor, and I believe I am helping science move forward. Speaking to the Daily Mail, Trung added that Aiko will slap you if you grab or squeeze her too hard, as she has all the senses except for smell. Still, he says the gynoid is always helpful and never complains. She is the perfect woman to have around at Christmas. The next wave. Currently, there is an American artist taking large steps in the erotica market by producing realistic love dolls. Matt McMullen started as a sculptor of female figures, and now he is the CEO of Real Doll. McMullen made the leap from passion to business after being questioned many times by people if he would turn his posable mannequins into love dolls. This led him to discover that there was indeed a market for that. Today, McMullen sells each of his dolls for at least $5,400, including male and transgender options, the latter being a customizable option not in the catalog. It took some time for McMullen to learn how to use materials such as silicone to build his love dolls, but he was always improving shapes, textures, and interaction, and now he wants to implement animatronics, artificial intelligence, and virtual reality features too. In an interview with the New York Times, McMullen said the hope is to create something that will actually arouse someone on an emotional and intellectual level, beyond the physical. In fact, Real Doll's frontman believes that it's more important to create the illusion that the doll is enjoying interaction rather than making her hips move by herself. But what overwhelms McMullen is the possibility that the doll can fake sentience, and that's why he says they need to be careful with artificial intelligence so the customers don't need to deal with a doll saying nonsensical stuff when getting confused by interaction.
Actroid F. At first glance, you may not have realized the woman we are talking about here is actually not a real woman at all, or even a real human for that matter. She is actually Actroid F, an experimental android created by Osaka University's Hiroshi Ishiguro, with the goal of creating the most lifelike android possible. Actroid F can speak, blink, recognize facial expressions, and react at its own discretion. Though impressive, they have more work ahead of them to overcome the pesky uncanny valley. Petman. Short for Protection Ensemble Test Mannequin, Petman is a humanoid military robot designed to mimic the movement and behavior of a human soldier to test the next generation of military apparel and safety equipment. It can walk, run, crawl, and even sweat like a human. In the future, it could be deployed autonomously for search and rescue operations within dangerous areas. Stripper bots. Created by German software developer Tobit Software, these pole-dancing robots were featured at the CeBIT Expo in Hanover in 2014, and more recently at a gentleman's club in Las Vegas during the 2018 Consumer Electronics Show. Though the robots are comparatively simple to some others on today's list, they definitely weren't any less unnerving with their robotic dance moves and security camera heads. One thing's for certain though, whenever the robot revolution does come to fruition at some point in the future, us humans are going to have a lot to answer for. Atlas. Atlas is an advanced humanoid robot currently being developed by Boston Dynamics. Originally based off of the technology used in Petman, Atlas has taken on a life of his own and has proved himself capable of running, jumping, standing up on his own if he is knocked over, crossing difficult terrain including snow, and even doing a backflip. Still, Atlas has a long way to go, and who knows what he'll be capable of in the future. Curitas. If you think this giant rideable mech would be at home in a Japanese anime or manga, then the lead designer and artist, Kogoro Kurata, did his job well. Inspired by the anime he watched as a kid, Kogoro contacted Tsutobashi Heavy Industry to create Kuratas, a robotic behemoth that stands 13 feet tall, weighs approximately 5 tons, and has a number of attachments, including a rotating BB minigun, a rocket launcher, and a surprisingly dexterous humanoid hand, Sophia. With human features, peachy skin on her face and neck, and makeup that adds to the realism, Hanson Robotics' Sophia is probably the most futuristic-looking robot around. A good basis for the future of human robots, this humanoid model can hold a conversation, answer questions, and even learn and absorb information with artificial intelligence. Since making her first public appearance in 2016, she's become one of the most famous robots, appearing on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon and in several magazines. She is now a citizen of Saudi Arabia and an innovation ambassador for the United Nations. Oh, and she likes to joke about dominating the human race. At least we hope it's a joke. Otherwise, it sounds like the start of a sci-fi book we don't want to live through. Handle, one of Boston Dynamics' newest and most ambitious projects. Handle is a strange alien-looking robot that stands 6.5 feet tall and can skate around on wheels at speeds of up to 9 miles per hour or drop to all fours in order to traverse any terrain in its path. Even the robot's own creators described Handle as nightmare-inducing. Asuna, designed by Hiroshi Ishiguro in collaboration with the team at Tokyo-based A-Lab, Asuna is an android first unveiled at the 2015 Wonder Festival Winter in Chiba, Japan. Up close, she looks like an adorable 15-year-old girl, about 155 centimeters in height and weighing approximately 43 kg. In fact, this hyper-real robot is so incredibly human-like that even the reporter covering the convention got confused, mistaking it for one of the idols from the AKB48 band. People often look at humanoid robots and think, that's creepy. However, Asuna is so human-like that you might find yourself thinking she's cute instead. Surely you've probably seen pictures of human-like robots before, but the true charm behind this android lies in her movements. You'd be blown away by the sheer naturalness of Asuna's mannerisms, from the way she blinks and squeezes her eyes shut to the shape her mouth makes as if she were about to yawn. Asuna is truly on a different level from other androids. Asuna also boasts flawless skin as well as intricate facial features, including ears that are soft and squishy like real human ears. Actroid. One of the earliest androids created by the scientists at Osaka University, Actroid made her first appearance at the International Robot Exhibition in Tokyo, way back in 2003. The robot, which looks like a young Japanese woman, is regarded as a pioneering example of a fembot or gynoid. As pointed out by the developers, its skin is fashioned out of silicone, which is what lends it its remarkable lifelike appearance. Coming to its capabilities, Actroid can blink, shift in its seat, move its eyes and head, and even replicate the motions associated with breathing. All of these movements are controlled by a specially designed pneumatic system featuring servo motors that are powered by compressed air. Artificial intelligence software enables it to react to and avoid sudden motions like a slap. The AI ensures that the robot reacts differently to different kinds of touches, such as a gentle caress and a nudge. The Actroid is also engineered to mimic human movements and expressions in real time, and was originally developed to serve as a receptionist, smart and attractive all at the same time. Nadine. Nadine is one of the most realistic female humanoid social robot around the world, and she looks and acts incredibly lifelike, being modeled on Prof. Nadia Manganat Thalmann. This robot has a realistic human appearance and a natural skin and hair. She has also very realistic hands. Nadine is a socially intelligent robot who is friendly, greets you back, makes eye contact, and remembers all the nice chats you had with her. She is able to answer questions in several languages, show emotions both in her gestures and in her face, depending on the content of the interaction with the user. Nadine can recognize people she has previously met and engage in flowing conversation. Nadine is also fitted with a personality, meaning her mood can sour depending on what you say to her. Nadine has a total of 27 degrees of freedom for facial expressions and upper body movements. She can recognize anybody she has met and remembers facts and events related to each person. Nadine is the ideal companion when nobody is there. She can assist people with special needs, read stories, show images, put on Skype sessions, send emails, and communicate with the family. She is part of the human assistive new technology, which is badly needed as society cannot afford a full-time social worker for each person with special needs. She can play the role of a personal private coach, always available when nobody is there. At the beginning, Nadine started working as a receptionist at Nanyang Technological University, and thus, her circle of friends was limited to students, staff, and visitors at NTU's Institute of Media Innovation. As a continuation, Nadine made her first public appearance as a key highlight at the Art Science Museum in Singapore during the exhibition Human Plus, The Future of Our Species, that was held from May to October 2017. There, she interacted with more than 100,000 visitors and impressed them all with both her intelligence and attractiveness. Junko Chihira. Toshiba created a very realistic-looking android named Junko Chihira to work in a new tourist information center in Japan. The bot can speak Japanese, Chinese, and English and made her debut in Aqua City Odaiba, a shopping center on Tokyo's waterfront. Junko Chihira would greet visitors as they walk in, and later, the android also provided tourists with information on events occurring in the area. Not only is Junko Chihira designed to look like a human, but was given qualities to make it more realistic. Junko Chihira is the successor to another Toshiba android named Aiko Chihira, who served as a receptionist in a department store in Japan in April. Aiki Chihira was created using technology developed by Hiroshi Ishiguro, a robotics researcher at Osaka University in Suita, Japan. Additionally, Junko Chihira can speak one more language than its predecessor, Chinese. Viomitra. Viomitra, the humanoid designed and developed by the Indian Space Research Organization to fly aboard unmanned test missions ahead of the Gaganyaan human spaceflight mission, is undergoing pre-flight ground tests at the ISRO Inertial Systems Unit here. Over the past few months, IISU has successfully integrated it with a computer brain which enables it to read control panels aboard the unmanned test flights and communicate with the ISRO ground stations. ISRO and IISU were in the news when they unveiled Viomitra, the female robot astronaut, in 2020. Viomitra is a half-humanoid lacking lower limbs. IISU was responsible for the design, development, and integration of the robot, while sister ISRO Center Vikram Sarabhai Space Center at Thumba here developed its fingers. The AI-enabled robot is designed to fly aboard a rocket, withstanding vibrations and shock during the flight. It has been designed to resemble a human with facial expressions and speech and sight capabilities. It has a certain level of intelligence. Viomitra is intended to operate and read the display panels and communicate back using its own voice. Viomitra will fly aboard the first unmanned test flight ahead of the crewed Gaganyaan flight expected in 2024. An attractive, super-intelligent female humanoid robot. How cool is that? Harmony. The Westworld concept of lifelike love-making robots has got one step closer. This happened when the San Marcos company unveiled Harmony, an anatomically correct love-making doll with a patented animatronic talking head with a programmable personality and memory. The creator, Matt McMullen, sees Harmony more as a comforting conversation companion like Apple's Siri, albeit one capable of having sensual conversations and telling naughty jokes. The worst thing she can possibly do to you is insult you, he said, pointing out that Harmony's arms and legs are jointed and fully posable, but they don't operate independently, at least not yet. McMullen added that the whole idea of a robot capable of lovemaking is very contemporary, now and edgy, but Harmony is a sophisticated piece of machinery, and her primary design is to carry on conversations. There's still a bit of shake around the mouth when Harmony speaks, and a slight metallic echoing tone to her voice, but Harmony, priced at $12,620, is widely considered the most scientifically advanced human-style robot in the world. Harmony's vocabulary is virtually endless, but she's programmed to end any conversation that involves murder or violence. So far, several thousand Harmony AI apps have been purchased worldwide, and McMullen said some users are talking to their avatars up to 10 hours a day. Method 2. At 13 feet tall and weighing over 1.5 tons, Hankook Mirai Technologies Method 2 is the world's first manned bipedal robot, and it looks like it came straight out of a futuristic sci-fi movie. Currently, Method 2 is still tethered to its testing facility in South Korea, while its creators work out the many kinks in its design. However, it's only a matter of time before it's walking on its own without the restraints of its safety harness. The immediate plan for the robot is to help humans safely work in dangerous locations, such as the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster area. but one of the long-term uses could be deployment along the border between North and South Korea to hopefully discourage any hostilities between the neighbors. Pepper. Pepper is one of the world's first human-like robots that can recognize faces and emotions. Created by the Japanese company SoftBank, the Pepper robots sold out in minutes when they were first released in 2014. They were designed to interact with humans, answering customer questions, recommending products to retail shoppers, helping people fill out bank forms, and assisting with hands-on learning in classrooms. The cute, friendly humanoid robot never quite lived up to its promise, and the company paused production in 2021. But you can still find them in use today at banks in Japan, Taiwan, and the United Arab Emirates, where they provide services like greeting customers. Neo. At Mitsubishi UFJ, the biggest bank in Japan, a robot will greet you, help you open a bank account, and more. Aldebaran Robotics developed Neo in 2006, and SoftBank Robotics released the 6th edition in 2018. The humanoid robot speaks 20 languages and costs around $8,000. You can see one for yourself at the bank's flagship location in Tokyo. Considering Neo's friendly eyes and build, it should come as no surprise that SoftBank Robotics also sees a place for the robot in the classroom as teaching aids and hospital as health assistants, for instance. Amika. Like many other cool robots, Amika uses artificial intelligence to analyze and react to its environment. But here's the catch. Amika can also express lifelike emotions and facial features like smiling, blinking, and even gasping in shock. Despite its metal body and gray, decidedly unhuman facial skin, Amika still looks startlingly human, like an early version of Ava from the science fiction movie Ex Machina. It's not available for consumer purchase. Instead, Amika was designed as a platform for future robotic tech. In other words, it's ready for others to further develop it. Manufacturer Engineered Arts put this humanoid up for sale or rental for an undisclosed price back in December 2021. Humanoid DK. This robot is a realistic twin of Henry Scharf of the University of Aalborg. It is the latest iteration of the Humanoid series of ultra-realistic androids. This humanoid robot results from a collaboration between a private Japanese firm and Osaka University, which was supervised by Hiroshi Ishiguro, the director of the university's Intelligent Robotics Laboratory. It took 9 months to craft the Humanoid DK. Not only his overall appearance was inspired, but his behavior and even the way he shrugs were also fed to the robot. And Scharf also donated the strands of his own hair to be used in the Humanoid wig. Jia Jia. Jia Jia is China's first humanoid robot. This Chinese humanoid robot puts on a charm in Shanghai. People worldwide admire Jia Jia for her most realistic and alluring appearance. Jia Jia is created by the University of Science and Technology research team in China. This astounding beauty can hold a normal conversation with a person with microbial facial expression. She does that with the help of speech generation algorithms and facial recognition technologies.
Jia Jia. A beautiful female humanoid, dubbed a robot goddess, is meeting hordes of fans at a huge conference. The female robot Jia Jia is not only very pretty, but really intelligent and quick-witted too. With incredible amounts of artificial intelligence, Jia Jia stood near the entrance of the exhibition hall that hosted the Summer Davos Forum in Tianjin, a port city in North China. Her attractive appearance, complete with a traditional Chinese outfit, hairstyle, and even a classic hairpin, immediately caught the attention of passers-by. But what truly impresses people is not only how lifelike she is, but also how smart she is. Developed by engineer Chen Xiaoping and his team from the University of Science and Technology of China, based in Hefei, the capital of East China's Anhui province, Jia Jia stole the limelight with her incredible artificial intelligence. Her brain, which is essentially a huge online database, is connected to a cloud computing platform that allows her to enhance her ability to process emotions and speech as new data is uploaded. Jia Jia can hold conversations with those who ask her questions and respond in less than a second. Reports said she is also able to make micro-expressions and recognize the facial expressions of others. She is thought to be one of a kind in China. Erica. The idea of a human-like robot has been ingrained in pop culture since before computers as we know them were even a remote possibility. Thanks to the incredible leaps forward in computing speed and artificial intelligence over the last few decades, humanoid robots are just now approaching the functionality that science fiction fans have been reading and watching for decades. Still, researchers and private inventors have made great progress in overcoming the creepy factor. Some of the robots are even, dare we say, borderline attractive, and an example is Erica. Erica is one of the most human-like robots from Japan. Erica was an advanced android designed as a research platform to study human-robot interaction. It understands natural language, has a synthesized human-like voice, and can display a variety of facial expressions. This eerie-looking humanoid is more lifelike, and her designer, Dr. Hiroshi Ishiguro, believes that she has a soul. But Erica just happens to be a conversational robot companion. Though the conversation may only go as far as reciting from a digital file placed inside her, it is part of a 5-year-old research project that has been built to be a talking friend for the aging Japanese population. Those living alone may require someone to interact with them through talking, and Erica serves that purpose. Aiko Chihira. The latest robot sensation in Japan is so lifelike that when she was on the floor of a Tokyo department store recently, she was confused for a human being. The new humanoid's name is Aiko Chihira, and she was working in customer service clad in a traditional silk kimono. However, Chihira is unlikely to engage in small talk, its makers admit. Instead, the robot was created to appear, talk, and move as humanly as possible. Chihira blinks, bows, and moves its mouth and lips smoothly while speaking. She's 5 feet 5 inches tall, and she's supposed to be 32 years old, Hitoshi Tokuda says. He's Toshiba Corp's head of new business development, who led the making of Chihira with a team of programmers. When NPR visited Chihira, she fooled more than a few folks into thinking she was real. The robot's appearance wasn't modeled on any specific person, but was designed to give a friendly impression, according to Toshiba. That trick of getting a robot to look human without winding up in the uncanny valley that scares children is a difficult balance for designers. All the interest in Chihira has Toshiba planning to give her some sisters. The female-looking robot will only speak Japanese, but she is also capable of sign language. Mark 1. This robot is designed by Ricky Ma in Hong Kong. He has spent a little more than a year and $50,000 working on his childhood dream of building a life-sized humanoid robot. 70% of the body of this female humanoid is made using 3D printing. She has liquid eyes and can show detailed facial expressions like raising her eyebrows in surprise and even winking while being spoken to. Mark 1 features a 3D printed skeleton. Her skin is made from silicone, which wraps around and hides the mechanical and electronic interior of the robot to give her a human-like appearance. The result is pretty impressive for a man who has no formal training in robotics or electrical engineering, and Ma says that he had to master complex skills like computer programming and electromagnetics, build accurate 3D models of all the parts that needed to be printed, and figure out how to successfully fit the robot's skin over the components, with a time-consuming trial-and-error method. Chihira Kanae Droid. Toshiba has shown off the latest generation of its Chihira robot at a trade fair in Berlin. The machine, which is designed to look as human-like as possible, has the German language added to its repertoire. It is reported that since its launch, it has upgraded the machine's control system to make its movements smoother. Toshiba brought the Chihira Kanae droid to the ITB Travel Expo to highlight what it hopes could become a viable product for the tourism industry. The machine has been installed at an information desk where it responds to questions from the attendees, particularly about the conference. Many people feel increasingly uncomfortable the closer a robot gets to appearing like a human being, so long as the two remain distinguishable. AI researchers and entrepreneurs believe that intelligent robots in human-like forms will surpass human intelligence and free the human race of work. They will, in the due course, start fixing problems like hunger and poverty, and perhaps help humans cure diseases. Artificially intelligent robots will help usher in a new utopian era never before seen in the history of the human race. Sophia. Sophia is better known as a social humanoid robot developed by Hong Kong-based company Hanson Robotics. She is the most advanced of robots made by Hanson so far. She is a media favorite, having given a number of interviews, singing in concerts, and was also featured in the Elle magazine. She is the first humanoid with proper citizenship, enjoying more rights than the other women in Saudi Arabia. Sophia's personality and appearance have been designed on a combination of Audrey Hepburn and Dr. Hanson's wife, and have a face made out of frubber. a proprietary nanotech skin that can mimic real human musculature and simulate lifelike expressions and facial features. She can smile and move her eyes and mouth and head in a lifelike way. Her thought runs on MindCloud, a deep neural network and cloud-based AI software and deep learning data analytics program. The AI and cognitive architecture that makes up Sophia's neural network allows the robot to maintain eye contact, recognize faces, process and understand speech, and hold relatively natural conversations. Sophia's ability to emulate human emotions will help her become part of the human condition as she gains intelligence through her learning algorithm. She is understood to be able to express 62 human emotions. Hansen's mission is to ensure that intelligent robots can help, serve, and entertain people while they develop deep relationships with the human race. By giving robots emotional and logical intelligence, rather than endangering humans, they will help the human race solve major problems. That's all for today's video. See you next time!